My head.
Bruce Banner awakens groggily and peers about. He is in the middle of a shallow crater that is surrounded by a thick forest. The sun is past its apex. Bruce looks down at his own body.
Well, at least I'm not indecent this time.
He bundles the remains of his jeans around his waist and climbs up out of the crater. He looks around, but does not see any landmarks to guide him.
Shit. I have no idea where I am or where to go. I guess east is as good as a direction as any.
Putting his shadow ahead of him, Bruce begins the arduous trek through the woods. His wiry body is filthy and starving, an indication he has spent a lot of time as the Hulk. He stumbles about the forest for hours before finding a stream of cool water. He collapses at the bank's edge and starts drinking heavily from it.
That tastes amazing.
Bruce sits and recovers his strength for a while before the bite of the cooling weather forces him to start moving again. Evening is approaching quickly, and he knows he needs shelter soon, even if it's summer. He decides to follow the stream, hoping it will lead him to a mill or even a town.
Feels like my luck is finally turning around.
More hours pass, and dusk is creeping upon him as he crests a hill. He comes across a well-worn path that the stream passes under. Invigorated by this sign of civilization, he follows it further east. Cresting over a foothill, his heart leaps into his throat as he can make out a town on the horizon.
Oh, hell yeah. Grab some clothes, some food, maybe even some cash if I can figure out where the hell I am.
Approaching closer to the town, Bruce can see some flags waving over it. Even in the dimming light, Bruce can make out the tricolor horizontal bands of white, blue, and red on the uppermost flag. His heart drops into the pit of his stomach as the reality of his situation hits home.
I'm in Russia. I'm so screwed.
The three remaining Avengers, Iron Man, Giant Man, and the Wasp, are led into a conference room by the bowler-wearing shield agent, with the no-nonsense Hispanic agent bringing up the rear. The team has been summoned and brought aboard a technological marvel, a flying aircraft carrier called a helicarrier. The conference room has a long wooden table running through the center of the room that would seat 12 people. On the wall at the head of the table is a large television screen. The rest of the room is metal walls and flooring.
So, this feels ominous and foreboding. If someone tells me to get on my knees, I'm blasting my way out of here.
You're not here for an execution, Miss Van Dyne.
That's not reassuring.
And how the hell do you know her real name?
We've known who you are since you started fighting crime, Dr. Pym.
Okay, I gotta agree with Wasp. That is not reassuring.
Enough, both of you. So are you going to explain why we're here?
Once everyone arrives, Stark.
Yeah, hard pass. Jarvis, if you please.
Right away, sir.
The television springs to life seemingly on its own. A stylized eagle logo appears.
You are in the custody of the Strategic Homeland Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division, known commonly as SHIELD. The current head is Nicholas Fury Jr., having succeeded his father, Nicholas Fury, 2 years ago. The location of their headquarters is classified, though we can safely assume that you are on it. They are an active intelligence-gathering organization that answers...
Stark, tell your robot to get out of our systems before I order a tech team to scrub him out. Permanently.
I really wouldn't try that. We're just leveling the playing field, Assistant Director Maria Hill and Agent Dugan.
Nobody likes a show-off, Stark.
We've gotten used to it. And we don't like being taken captive more.
You haven't been taken captive. You're here to answer some questions is all.
Funny. See, we have these things called phones. You could have just called.
That's enough. Now sit down and wait for the rest to arrive.
The Avengers make no move to sit. The Wasp crosses her arms.
We'll stand. Thanks.
Your choice.
The conference door opens and in walk two men dressed in military uniforms. One is a heavy-set older man with a thick gray mustache, a broad silhouette, and a stern look etched into his grizzled face. The other is a younger man with brown hair and sharp features. He also has a brown mustache, though pencil-thin. His dark, intelligent eyes scan the Avengers while the older man advances on Hill.
General Ross, Major Talbot, welcome to...
Hill, where's Junior? I was told this meeting would be SHIELD's highest priority.
The boss only gets involved if it's the end of the world. And I wouldn't recommend letting Director Fury hear you call him that, General.
He gets a mite testy about it.
Well, we get a mite testy when a weapon of mass destruction lands in the hands of a tyrannical madman.
A WMD? What are you talking about?
Speaking of international screw-ups, why aren't these idiots in handcuffs?
Excuse you?
That's because nobody's arresting us, General.
We've saved New York City. Twice.
And you morons thought that gave you the right to invade a hostile foreign nation!
Doom captured Captain America first. You're damn right we went after him.
Oh, we've read your report to the president. Tell us, did you come home with the captain?
The captain elected to stay behind. To save the Hulk.
To save the Hulk. You can't save a monster. You can only kill it.
Yeah, and how's that worked out for you so far?
Enough! This is getting us nowhere.
Now you listen here, Missy.
Hill grabs Talbot's pointing index finger, twists and pins his body onto the table. His face smacks into the hard wood and remains planted there by Hill's other hand. Dugan warns off the advancing general with a shake of his head.
First, Mr. Talbot, it's Commander Hill. And on this ship, you're nobody. This team is how we are going to fix your little green problem. And if you don't approve, then you can be escorted from the deck. Have I made myself understood?
Yeah, I understand.
Good.
Hill lets go of the major's finger and steps away from him. Talbot, for his part, does his best to recover his pride by straightening his uniform and ignoring the throbbing pain of his sprained finger.
You've got a little something on your face?
Now, if everyone would please sit down.
I'll stand. Not out of disrespect, but these little chairs aren't designed for this kind of armor.
Understood.
The other Avengers sit down from across the general and his man. Hill walks over to the television and clicks a button to turn it on, producing the spinning SHIELD logo again.
As I was saying, General Ross, this is the team you will be taking for this mission. It's their mess, and Director Fury likes the symmetry of them cleaning it up.
I'd rather jump on a live grenade.
Wait, I don't understand. What mess? You want us to go back to Latveria or something? Did something happen to Steve?
We don't know about the captain's whereabouts, other than he is not in Latveria. After your little field trip, the country was plunged into chaos. Doom is currently fighting off a rebel militia for control of the country.
So, what? You want us to go put down some rebels? I thought we stood for freedom around here.
Don't equate S.H.I.E.L.D.'s interests with American policy. No, that problem is being handled. Your problem is that the Hulk was spotted crossing the border into Russia last night.
Hill clicks a button, and the screen shows a blurry green streak flying across the horizon. There is a sign in Cyrillic indicating villages nearby.
That could be anything.
Afraid not, Wasp. We have collaborating reports of unusual seismic activity. And this.
He pushes a button, and a video of a couple of Russian teens plays. In the background, the unmistakable roar of the Hulk can be heard, echoing through the mountains.
Oh is right, young lady. You morons just handed one of the most volatile creatures on the planet to the Russians!
Look, the Hulk can't read. I highly doubt he knew what he was doing, or where he even was while he was doing it. But what I'm failing to see is why this is our damn problem.
I'll make it simple. You're going to help the General capture his lost monster, or you will be brought up on charges of extensive destruction of property not justified by military necessity, directing an attack against a historical building, and bombarding a building not authorized as a military objective. And that's just the war crimes I can think of off the top of my head.
You're joking, right?
I've spent millions of dollars and hundreds of federal man-hours arranging this top-secret airship to host a meeting between obviously hostile parties. To tell you a joke.
Point taken.
We want something in return for this.
You're in no position to negotiate here, Iron Man.
And I wasn't talking to you, Poindexter. We want immunity, Hill. We help with this, we get this target off our backs.
As much as I loathe agreeing with the Major, you aren't really able to ask for that.
You came to us because we're expendable. The General here either doesn't want to or can't use American forces to collect the Hulk. Therefore, you need us.
They need you because the Russians made their own team.
The screen flicks, and a picture of several costumed men and women appears. A man that appears to be the Russian equivalent of Captain America stands in the center. Beside him stands a scrawny man with dark hair in an ill-fitting Russian uniform. Around them are a pair of blondes, one man and one woman, in differing black combat outfits. Along the back row is a red armored individual that is clearly their version of Iron Man, and a tall, ethereal woman with purple hair and a matching bodysuit.
They're called the Winter Guard, and they're on the trail of the Hulk. They've been assigned to protect Emil Blonsky, their Gamma expert, to find and capture the Hulk for study.
What's the team makeup?
All we've got are code names. Red Guardian, Dark Star, Vanguard, Crimson Dynamo, and Fantasia. The weaselly little man beside the Guardian is Blonsky, plus at least 24 highly trained soldiers. Well, highly trained by Russian standards.
Crimson Dynamo? Yeah, I fought him a handful of times. Thought he was still serving time in prison for his latest attack.
Yuri Petrovich, aka Crimson Dynamo, was extradited back to Russia 2 months ago.
That's just after the trolls came to New York.
Well, seems like they've been gearing up for this, which is disturbing. What do we know about Blonsky?
Emil Blonsky, no living family. Graduate of Moscow State with top marks in theoretical sciences, specifically gamma-related research. He was charged with sexual misconduct in his final year, but the charge was dropped. He's made an officer for this mission, but he's an officer in name only. The man truly in charge is the Red Guardian.
Is that the Russian Cap? You got anything on him?
We don't, unfortunately. Same for the twins, Lenya and Nikolai Krylenko, Dark Star and Vanguard, respectively. We have very little beyond that they're related and mutants with some interesting powers. And we have even less on Fantasia, though it would appear even the Russians don't know anything about her. Just that she has some mystical abilities.
So they've got a Cap, an Iron Man, the stand-ins for us, and their own Thor. All they're missing is a Hulk.
And we are to stop them from getting him, at all costs.
We still want immunity, Hill. Otherwise, you can get some other flunkies to fight the Russians.
You'd rather risk prison than a chance to go after Captain Rogers.
Iron Man, let's chat. Privately.
Giant Man and the Wasp stand up from the table. They pull Iron Man into a private huddle before switching channels to speak privately, helmet to helmet.
We've got only a few moments before S.H.I.E.L.D. finds this channel. Tony, this is the chance we need to get Steve back.
And I highly doubt prison would do well with your whole secret bodyguard story. I wouldn't do that well in there either. I mean, look at me.
I'm not a fan of being bent over barrel like this, guys. My armor's already starting to chafe.
Same, but our options are rather limited. We need to be on this team. Get to Russia, save Steve, and keep Bruce out of this Winter Guard's grasp. Then we'll deal with Ross and S.H.I.E.L.D.
Fine.
The Avengers break, and Iron Man turns back to the waiting general and S.H.I.E.L.D. agents.
Have you made a decision?
We're in. Let's go get a Hulk.
It has been a busy several hours for Bruce since he found the little Russian town. Relying on the street smarts and skills he has picked up over the years on the run, Bruce has procured some clean clothes, shoes, and a bit of cash. Now, all he needs is some food and a place to sleep for the night. This led him to the only place open, a bar in the town center.
Oh, this is such a bad idea. Hopefully, no one recognizes this awful purple tracksuit. Seriously, what is it with Russians in tracksuits?
Bruce enters and slowly approaches the bar, finding an empty spot. He flags down the bartender and takes a gamble.
English?
Duh. No good. Can make order.
Good enough. Water and beef stroganoff, please?
Water out. Vodka.
I really shouldn't.
But the bartender has already turned away to fulfill Bruce's order, leaving the scientist with only his paranoia and hunger to keep him company.
Just keep cool. Nobody cares why you're here or who you are. Just another wanderer.
You are a hard man to track down, Dr. Banner.
Bruce spins around to find Steve sitting right next to him. He is dressed in some casual clothes, a plaid button-up, jeans, and work boots.
Rogers? Oh man, am I glad to see you. But what are you doing here? How did you get here? Where's everyone else? What are you wearing?
Whoa. Slow down there. How about we take this to a more secluded spot?
Steve and Bruce find a corner table that is away from most of the patrons, though they still attract several eyes. A man of the captain's physique stands out, no matter what he is wearing. Bruce notices this as they sit down.
We don't have a lot of time here, Steve. Why aren't we making for the jet?
It's because there is no jet. I'm here alone, Doctor.
What?
After my rescue, I came back for you. The rest of the team decided it was too risky, and they left.
You mean they wouldn't come back for the other guy?
How did you survive the blast, anyway?
I don't remember. How did you get here before me, then?
I was picked up by some tradesmen heading back to this town. They graciously gave me some clothes to help disguise me through the checkpoint. Brought me here. I was actually going to start tracking you tomorrow morning.
Fate's funny like that. Well?
Bruce is interrupted as the bartender approaches their table and drops Bruce's order in front of him.
Here, American. Order.
Gee, thanks.
The bartender scowls at both men before heading back to the bar. Bruce starts wolfing down his food.
He's gonna call us in, man. I need to eat and leave.
Are you always so jumpy?
Yeah, it's kept me one step ahead of Ross for the last couple of years. Don't fix what's not broken, right?
True, but he hasn't touched his phone since he went back over there. Could be he thinks you're gonna skip out without paying or something else. You're not in America anymore, Doctor. Not everyone here is out to get you.
2 heavily armed Russian soldiers enter the tavern. Their mere presence makes the whole place stop and settle down almost immediately. They begin yelling orders in Russian, which agitates the tavern patrons.
You wouldn't happen to know Russian, would you?
They're looking for dissidents. Telling them to have their papers ready.
Oh. And you said not everyone was out to get me. Okay. Hey. Where's your shield?
Right here.
Steve reaches under the table and discreetly removes his shield.
Now, Dr. Banner, I need you to remain calm during the next few seconds. Think you can handle that?
What, dive under the table and hope not to get shot?
Something like that?
One of the soldiers approaches their table. Before he could say anything, Steve swiftly stands up and uppercuts the soldier in the diaphragm. The soldier, unable to catch his breath, slumps down. Steve then snaps his knee into the man's face. There is a crunch of bone and spray of blood as the man's nose crumbles inward, taking him out of the fight. This draws the attention of the other one. Steve launches his shield, catching the second soldier in the abdomen. The force knocks the man up and over the table behind him, while the shield ricochets twice and back to Steve's waiting arm.
Whoa.
It is all over in less than 5 seconds.
Time to go, Doctor.
While Bruce heads out the door, Steve pulls some Russian currency from his pocket and places it on the bar. He looks at the terrified bartender.
Спасибо. Извините за беспорядок.
Outside, Bruce has found the soldier's truck. He is under the steering wheel as Steve comes out, stripping the wires.
Doctor, what are you doing?
Staying ahead, hopefully. We're gonna borrow their ride.
With 2 quick taps, Bruce manages to get the engine to turn over. He shoots a wild smile back at Steve, who hops into the passenger seat.
Didn't know you could hotwire a car.
Picked up some tricks running from Ross over the years. Now, see if they had a map in the glove compartment and let's get the hell out of here.
Sounds like a plan.
Bruce guns the engine as they race away from the town. He is hoping to put some serious distance between them and the soldiers before a distress call can be sent out. Grim determination sets in as they drive into the night. Hundreds of miles away, Alexei Shostakov sits down with a mug of hot chocolate at his computer. Also known as the Red Guardian, he is a tall, muscular man outfitted in a red combat suit. A large white star is displayed on his chest. His red beard is neat and trimmed. He pulls the cowl off and leans back in his chair to enjoy his drink. His blue eyes gaze fondly at his background picture, one of him and a familiar red-headed woman sharing a kiss. They are both dressed for a wedding.
Ah, Natasha. Wish we could be together for this operation. You're the better people person, less.
A young blonde man walks into the Red Guardian's office. He is Nikolai Krylenko, also known as Vanguard. His combat outfit is a black and blue version of Alexei's. He has a hammer and sickle clipped to either side of his belt. On his face is a furious scowl.
Alexei, we need to talk.
Nikolai, then what can I do for you now, comrade?
Don't comrade me, Alexei. We need to talk about Blonsky again.
As I've told you before, while his work is our top priority, it doesn't mean you need to share meals with the man. Just ignore him.
He's hard to ignore when he's sitting on my sister. I thought you told him to back off.
I did. But another conversation could be in order. Shall we?
Red Guardian stands and motions for Nikolai to lead. The 2 men make their way to the mess hall of the Winter Guard headquarters, a relic of the Cold War, but the base is still functional to act in a temporary capacity until a better one could be built. Since the arrival of the Avengers, it has been the Russian government's highest priority.
See? Man seems to have a hard time understanding no.
I do. Let me handle this. Wait here.
Red Guardian approaches the table where Lenia Krylova sits with a Weasley man in plain clothes and a lab coat. She is outfitted in a black combat suit with yellow gloves, boots, and a diamond on her chest. A black headband keeps her long blonde hair out of her face. Her blue eyes briefly convey her relief at seeing her team leader and twin brother.
That's not quite correct, my beautiful Lenia. Gamma energy will revolutionize the world. It has so much potential. Much like myself.
Darkstar, you're supposed to be in training with Fantasia now, correct?
What? Oh, yes, sir. I'm so sorry, sir.
Don't apologize. Vanguard, take your sister to her combat training. She's not the only one who needs extra time harnessing her powers.
Yes, sir.
Darkstar stands up quickly from the table and heads out of the mess hall. Vanguard gives the briefest of dirty looks to Blonsky before departing as well. Red Guardian takes Darkstar's place across from Blonsky, who smiles ruefully at the big man.
That is very weird, Alexei. Last time I checked the schedule, her evening was open.
Emil, it would appear you're having a hard time understanding the rules of fraternization around here. As a mutant, Darkstar is off limits. You've been told this.
The heart wants what the heart wants, Red. She's a beautiful young woman. So full of potential.
That has no bearing on this conversation. You're an intelligent adult man, Emil. Not only do I expect you to follow the rules, but I also shouldn't have to explain them more than once.
I'm not one of your little soldiers, Alexei. Don't speak to me as if I am. We are equals on this project.
While true, your conduct is unbecoming. I can and will have you replaced if I think your presence is a jeopardy to this team.
That is also where you're wrong. I'm Russia's foremost expert on gamma radiation. No one is better than me. You need me. The Kremlin personally assured me that I would have whatever I wanted. And I want Dark Star.
At Blonsky's outburst, the Red Guardian stands up and towers over the much smaller man. His blue eyes burn with ferocity as he stares Blonsky down.
You can want whatever you want. But people have choices, Blonsky. So understand this. You don't need your legs to do your job. You can do your computations and equations from a hospital bed. Then we'll see who visits you.
You wouldn't. How would you explain it to the Kremlin?
Base is old. Stairwells aren't the safest of places. Man can take an awfully long time falling down them.
The two men stare at each other just as another man enters the mess hall. Though only in his 30s, his grizzled and scarred face indicates he has lived a hard life. He is outfitted in a flight compression suit of dark gray and black. His name is Yuri Petrovich, the pilot of the Crimson Dynamo armor. He has an urgent look on his face.
Hey, boss, Sorry, am I interrupting something?
Not at all, Yuri. Blonsky and I were just finishing our conversation. What do you have?
Fantasia wants to see you. Said she got a report that you need to see.
I thought Fantasia was training the twins.
No, she's been in the community.
Blonsky, we're done here. Go work on your gamma container protocols, and remember what we talked about.
With a dirty scowl, the smaller man shuffles off towards his lab under the commanding gaze of the Red Guardian. Crimson Dynamo, for his part, looks confused.
Anything I should be aware of, boss?
No. It's been handled. Speaking of protocols, have you made the necessary adjustments to the armor?
You know this computer stuff goes over my head. Besides, it's all point and click tech these days. I point, something explodes. Not much to it.
Then go find the tech and get them made, Yuri. You call me boss, yet you constantly ignore my orders.
All right, whatever. I'll go find a guy.
Crimson Dynamo also leaves the mess hall, leaving Red Guardian alone with his thoughts for the moment.
This team is barely holding together. I'm starting to question what the purpose of all this is.
It takes him a minute to get to the communications area of the base, where he finds the alluring Fantasia monitoring the array. While everyone else has opted for uniforms that could handle combat, she has gone for a skin-tight purple catsuit that shows off every curve. But her strange mannerisms and unknown origins keep even the most adventurous of suitors away from her. Not that she seems to mind.
Red Guardian, I have a report of the utmost importance that needs a review. Did Crimson Dynamo not convey the urgency to you adequately enough?
I was wrapping up another issue, Fantasia. What is it?
Very well. I have a report from a border patrol near the Latvian boundary. They were attacked by a large man with a round shield and had their vehicle commandeered. Other witnesses say he was accompanied by another man of meager stature in a purple tracksuit. They are currently on the run.
A man with a shield? That doesn't sound like the creature we were told to keep a lookout for.
This still sounds like a promising lead, Guardian. The Winter Guard should check it out.
I forgot to mention that while I waited for you, Blonsky called and told me to read him in. As head of science, his review of the matter would have been necessary.
We'll discuss proper procedures at another time, Fantasia. Blonsky, this doesn't sound like our purview. What makes this a promising lead?
Witness reports say the Shield Man came with a group of farmers from across the Latvian border yesterday, at the same time as sightings of the Hulk appeared. I believe this man to be Captain America of the Avengers, and he will lead us to the Hulk. That is why I've already submitted the paperwork for approval to take him down.
That is not your...
We'll have a discussion of proper procedures once the guard has brought him in. See to it, Alexei. That is a direct order from the Kremlin.
Red Guardian angrily pushes the button to hang up on Blonsky, then turns to Fantasia.
Do you have a location?
Yes, the occupants did not disengage the tracking software. They are in the mountains heading northwest.
Fantasia clicks a couple of keys and pulls up a map with a live streaming tracking program, which indicates a fast-moving vehicle blazing through the country roads. Red Guardian nods, then pushes a button to turn on the intercom system.
Attention, Winter Guard. We have a mission. Gear up and meet in the briefing room in 5.
Miles away, a SHIELD stealth plane hurtles towards the Russian border. On board are the 3 Avengers, who have been rather quiet after the meeting with Hill and Ross.
Hey, Hank, did you get the almond milk I asked for?
Yeah. I grabbed it. I even got it in the fridge before we were summoned.
That's good. Thanks.
Hey, cut the chatter back there.
Or what, Tony? Gonna dump one of us out the back, too?
No, we just need to focus.
On? Seriously, Tony, look, I get it. You took a hard hit for us, for him, and now...
And now we're owned by a shadowy organization that doesn't answer to any country. And our first mission is to infiltrate a hostile foreign nation and capture a rage monster, which is exactly what I was trying to avoid.
Wait, you knew about S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Through Stark Industries, we've done some very experimental orders that didn't track, that didn't add up. Took Jarvis and I quite some time to piece together. I just had no idea how deep or big this thing was. This was long before the Avengers. But yeah, I knew.
Shocking. Got any other bombshells you're sitting on?
Hold that thought. Yeah, this is the Avengers.
Commander Hill and General Ross appear on the view screen. Neither look happy to share the same space at the same time. But it is clear that they have something important to give the team.
We have new intel. 2 men were reported for attacking a couple of soldiers near the Latvian border and stole their ride. Witnesses claimed one had a metal disc that flew around the room. Based on terrain, their head start, and average speed, we're sending you a general location. We believe they're somewhere on this road along the mountains.
You should assume the Winter Guard has gotten the same intel and isn't bound as well. Somehow, Banner's keeping a lid on his monster problem, which is good. Much easier to snap that twig's neck than the Hulk's. Has the captain contacted you yet?
No, he hasn't, General. Probably because I told him he was on his own if he bailed on us. And even if I hadn't told him that, the comlinks don't work that far.
Well, that explains some things.
I want Banner's body on a slab by the end of the day, Tin Can. Or I swear to God, and whatever you hold closest to your heart, I'll bury you.
Ross turns and gives the kill command to an unseen technician, who ends the call. The other Avengers glance at Iron Man.
Whatever you hold closest to your heart. Tony, I think the General knows who you are.
Oh, one problem at a time, Hank. We need to focus on the problem in front of us.
Tell me you're not thinking about actually killing Bruce, because I won't do it.
I feel the same way, Jan. We're heroes, not assassins.
No, Hank. We're better than heroes. We're Avengers. And the day I willingly take orders from Thunderbolt Ross is the day hell freezes over. But he did remind me of something. Jarvis, Pull out Cap's comm and triangulate. We can do far better than guess.
Right away, sir. Analyzing. The signal is weak. Routing directions to your heads-up display. ETA, 15 minutes to destination.
All right. Now we're back in business.
You're starting to worry us a bit there, man.
I just needed to see the whole picture beforehand. Now I know who all the players are and their general dispositions. It's time to put the band back together.
Doctor, may I ask a personal question?
You can knock off the doctor bit, Steve. Bruce is fine. What's the question?
You keep calling the Hulk the other guy, but you're the Hulk. How does that work?
Wow, right for the heavy questions. All right. Remember how you were trapped in the scanner? Couldn't move, could barely see out of it, and it's moving, but you have no control over it?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, now imagine that it wasn't just your body, but your mind as well. Some other force overpowers you, traps you in some dark part of your psyche, and takes off with your body. No control, no say, just rage and destruction wherever you go.
And you have no memory of what happens while you're the Hulk?
I get glimpses, flashes of events, things that don't make any sense. I usually piece it together later. All hail YouTube, right?
That sounds very lonely. Also, what's YouTube again?
It's a video sharing site that's used for everything from the news to funny cat videos. Janet was showing us a few on our way to the Baxter. But anyway, you'd know better than most about being lonely, eh? A man at a time. It was all shock once things calmed down a bit.
Honestly, I'm proud of the accomplishments, the scientific breakthroughs. In my day, it was science fiction for men to walk on the moon. Now, there's more space junk up there than you all know what to do with. I try to think positively, though, and not linger on the past.
You mean... Whoa, that's a big pothole. You mean to say you have no feelings on the fact that we're still fighting the same people nearly 70 years after your nap? The constant state of war and fear in the world doesn't bother you at all?
Didn't say it didn't bother me, Bruce. Just said I don't linger on it.
Well, ain't that a breath of... Oh, shit!
Two people appear right in front of the car, emerging as if from a pool of shadows faster than Bruce can react, bringing the stolen car to a very hard, very sudden stop. The engine compartment partially wraps around the man, but he is unharmed. There is the briefest glance of a blond man with his arms crossed, holding a hammer and sickle in either hand, and a woman behind him.
No one gets past Vanguard. Come out, Americans.
Captain America stumbles out of the ruined vehicle. He staggers away, but gets the shield up as he stares the attackers down. He has a bloody gash over his left eye, but otherwise seems only shaken up by the wreck.
You really shouldn't have done that.
Oh? And why is that?
'Cause the Hulk was driving.
You are lying, as all Americans.
The Hulk bursts out of the destroyed car like an emerald missile and lands a dozen meters past the two Russians. The shirt is gone, but the purple tracksuit pants have remained intact for the most part. He turns a crazed expression back at the duo before charging at them.
Sister, get behind me.
Hulk's fist punches forward into the Vanguard's chest. An aura of shining light appears around the young man, allowing him to go unscathed, but the blow drives him back into the wrecked car. Darkstar dives out of the way as the Hulk continues to pummel away on her brother.
Contact! We've made contact, Red. The Hulk is here.
That can't be good. Hulk, we're about to have some company.
Why so hard to smash? Because, monster, I cannot be damaged.
The Hulk backs up, then drives both fists into the dirt and lifts.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Vanguard!
Vanguard goes flying as the chunk of earth he was standing on is pulled out from under him and tossed into the air. The young woman gathers the darkness around her hands and reaches out with her power, catching her brother and setting him down. Then she turns on the Hulk and Cap.
Nobody hurts my brother.
A purple mist suddenly coalesces on the road and 3 figures appear. Red Guardian, Fantasia, and Crimson Dynamo, all suited up and ready for combat. Red Guardian steps up, wielding a shield very similar to Cap's own. The Hulk prepares to attack, but Cap holds up a hand to stop him.
Captain, I am the Red Guardian of the Winter Guard. Stand down, turn over the Hulk, and we will let you leave Russia in peace. Or we will take both of you by force. I think our prison system would break even a man of your resolve.
The Hulk isn't a thing to be bartered over. He's an Avenger, and a member of my team. How would you feel if I demanded you to hand over one of your members for no reason?
We have every reason, Captain. The Hulk is a clear and present danger that must be contained. Where your government has failed to do so, we will. Now, stand aside, or we will take both of you down.
Flying in to hover over the Hulk and Cap is Iron Man. 2 tiny figures leap from the Golden Avengers armor and enlarge as they land next to the 2 men.
Now I'd almost pay to see that.
Sorry we're late, Cap. Traffic was hell.
You wouldn't believe what we've been through to get to you.
Do you really think more of your Avengers will make this intrusion into our sovereign lands any better, Captain? Send your people away and leave the Hulk, or we will take you all in.
Yeah, that's not happening, Discount Cap. Hulk's coming with us. Our man got to him first.
Iron Man.
Sort of like finders keepers. We found him, we keep him.
And here we... End of discussion.
Very well. Winter Guard, Atakirte, Unistoste, Avengers!
Avengers, assemble!
The 2 teams charge each other and split off into pairs. Captain America bull rushes Red Guardian, the clang of their shields echoing across the mountainside. Dark Star, furious with the Hulk's attack on her brother, slaps the Jade Giant with a large shadowy hand. Vanguard rushes towards Giant Man, hammer and sickle at the ready. Fantasia mutters some indecipherable words to create clones of herself to face off against the Wasp. Iron Man and Crimson Dynamo take to the skies, firing munitions and repulsor blasts at each other.
You're on my turf now, Iron Man. I'm going to enjoy ripping you apart. Let's see how well you do in a gulag.
Jarvis, I need an opening.
Scanning. The holes in the Dynamo software have been patched and heavily modified. I cannot make the same cyber attack as before, sir.
Then I guess we'll stress test the armor and see what happens next.
On the ground, the Wasp's fight with Fantasia is going just as well as she blasts clone after clone.
You should know, I beat the last guy that pulled this party trick.
But you have not beaten me, puppets.
Suddenly, the clones change, growing claws and fangs. They leap for the Wasp, who shrinks out of the way. Shrunken, her stingers are not as effective, but the Fantasia creatures cannot hit her. Nearby, a similar standstill is occurring between Giant Man and Vanguard, as neither manages to land a worthwhile blow. Vanguard's personal force field deflects the ants and punches, but he has to drop his stance to attack.
Nothing can hurt me when I'm like this, you giant oaf.
Thanks for the information.
Dark Star is pushing her abilities to the limit by creating shadowy constructs to attack the Hulk, keeping the rage monster busy and at range. He is smashing and punching them nearly as fast as she can create them. This is only making the Jade Giant angrier.
How do you keep going?
Hulk smash, stupid son of...
And finally, The two leaders are trading body blows like it's a prize fight. They're equally matched in hand-to-hand combat and strength. Each attempt by one to use the terrain to their advantage is quickly countered by the other.
Do you know, I was made after you appeared.
No, I didn't. Volunteer or conscripted?
A volunteer.
How honorable. But to be made as a man's shadow, that's gotta be a terrible existence.
Speaking of shadows, Darkstar, now!
Unseen in the night's darkness, Darkstar has been creating a portal beneath the Hulk's feet. With a flick of her wrist, the Dark Force hole opens beneath the Emerald Behemoth. His footing gone, the Hulk throws out his mighty arms and plants them into the ground just beyond the edge of the hole, using what is left of her energy. Darkstar propels herself like a rocket into Hulk's face, causing both of them to vanish from sight.
Hulk! Winter Guard, fall back! Extraction pattern Delta the same.
Red Guardian quickly disengages from his fight with Captain America, somersaulting off a blow that was meant to be a shield bash. A purple, smoky trail suddenly drifts away from where the Wasp is fighting, transforming into Fantasia several meters away. Up above, Crimson Dynamo sets off a series of explosive flares in Iron Man's face.
Oh! Damn it, I wanted it! But I'm not.
Giant Man grows again to an astounding height of 60 feet. He towers over the battling heroes and looks down upon the retreating vanguard. He reaches down and plucks his adversary up like an action figure.
Guess your personal bubble can't save you now.
Help!
Got one, Cap. Not for long, American!
Crimson Dynamo flies up and blasts the fingers holding Vanguard, burning the giant's fist.
Oh, that's hot!
Vanguard drops from Giant Man's grasp, but Crimson Dynamo catches him, and they fly back to Fantasia Circle. The three Russian men stand beside their compatriot as she finishes her spell.
Ustram! Verin! Algora!
The final syllable rings out across the mountainside as the Winter Guard vanishes from the area.
Son of a bitch! Did we just lose again?